My favourite joke in this film was the love triangle between Thor, Mjolnir, and Stormbreaker. It was so funny. The first time, then the second time they made the same joke, it was pretty funny. Third time, a little bit of a chuckle, I suppose. Fourth time, okay, still going. Fifth time, all right, slow down. Sixth, seventh, eighth, there's room for other jokes. Taika Waititi, there's room for other jokes. Oh, you're doing another joke. Cool. Oh, it's the same actors doing a play. Like in Thor Ragnarok. Cool, you're doing the same thing. It's going to be another scene, just the same as Thor Ragnarok. But that was fresh and fun and different and unique because, you're doing a different style and a different kind of take on Thor. So you got to play in this world of Thor, mocking those styles and tones of Thor from those first two movies. But now you're doing that again in the fourth one. Having fun and mocking the third one. That's the same tone. Okay. This definitely doesn't feel repetitive and sequely in the worst way possible. It's not a bad omen for the rest of the film. Oh wait, no it is. It most certainly is. Hey guys, I'm Jax and this is my spoiler review for Thor 4, A Loveless Blunder. Speaking of bad omens and repetitive things that were good in the first one, but first one being Ragnarok and the second one being Love and Thunder, Korg is back. Everyone's favorite rock monster thingy. I was going to say rock lobster, but no, not the song, the monster, Korg, the rock thing. And he's like, I'm starting a revolution, yay. And funny little quips, but also some of the worst stuff in Ragnarok. He keeps undermining dramatic, serious bits, but he had some really, really good bits. So big fan favorite, but it's Taika. Is he going to kind of put himself in too much? Yes. Way too much. Chris Hemsworth is still killing it as Thor. He's absolutely killing it. He's such a delight. He's so good in this film. And Jane Foster is as good as she's ever been, if not way, way better. I mean, she's way better, but I do think some of the emotional beats get kind of destroyed by the Taika zany, quirky nature of it all. Oh, what I did really love was the Guardians of the Galaxy for their glorified cameo. For 5 seconds. Actually, no, I hated that. That was really disappointing. What I did really like, though, was Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher and his slimy Christian Bale acty thing that was happening in a completely separate film. The tone was so different. There was wacky, zany Taika Waititi jumping about, being like, I'm Zeus, boo-hoo-hoo, I'm a silly, silly god. And then you have Gore the God Butcher just being like, hey, yeah, kids, here's a snake, I'll rip its head off and drink its blood. This film is a tonal nightmare. It's all over the place. Every single emotional bit is completely ruined because the scene just before or just after is a joke. You remember how incredibly shocking and horrifying it was in Ragnarok when they blew up Asgard and then all that emotional, emotion was completely destroyed by literally Taika Waititi making a shitty joke about the foundations and it's exploded. No emotion, stupid joke, undercuts all the dramatic tension. Well, imagine the most emotional moment where Jane as Thor, mighty Thor, and Thor as Thor, and they're embracing. She's just talking about cancer, and they kiss, and it's brilliant, it's emotional, it's dramatic, it's intense, and then literally the director of the movie, as a rock, who died, but actually the rock's sentience is just in the face or whatever, he just starts singing. He literally cuts the dramatic tension and ruins it by singing. You guys know the phrase, too much of a good thing? That keeps coming to mind with this film because Thor Ragnarok, masterpiece. This film, it feels like the sequel to Ragnarok. It feels like that first fresh film where you're like, I love all the concepts and the ideas of this film. It's so brilliant and amazing. And the sequel does everything but worse. Some bits are better, but then they get overused and you end up not liking them. And you're like, well, I like the actors and the characters in the thing, but the thing as a whole... Oh boy. Jane Foster is really well done for the most part. I feel like the third act completely kind of botches and makes some really obvious choices. Kind of cliche stuff at the end where she's like, I've got to stay behind because of the cancer and just leave the hammer here. He's like, I'll leave the hammer here. I don't even need the hammer, even though there's been a whole love triangle thing where maybe I'd want my hammer at this point. And that would be a kind of funny cap off to that joke that's way too long and overextended. But that would kind of make sense. But maybe I'll just leave it here. Why? Because you've got to obviously come back and sacrifice yourself using the hammer at the end of the movie. And guess what? That's what happens. Because of course that's what happened. Why am I so angry that it's predictable and by the numbers? It's a Marvel film. I don't know, I just expected more. Ragnarok really shocked me at the end, where it's like, actually, we're going to cause Ragnarok. Big monster. The Hulk, don't hit the big monster. Big monster's killing hell for us. It's a good thing. Asgard's not a place, it's a people. Some really good stuff in there. So, I don't know. I think my expectations were just too high. I expected something different and more from this, because it's very by the numbers. The plot is just like an evil guy's killing gods, but we don't even get any cool, fun, interesting moments of him killing any cool, interesting gods. Thor's the only one that kills a god, but then that's retconned, and he doesn't even kill the god. He's like, actually, I didn't die, because it's a post-credit scene, and death means nothing in the Marvel universe, so why should anyone care about anything? And I'm getting worked up. I need to calm down, because it's just a stupid Thor movie, I guess. For the most part, she's really fun. She's got some fun little quips. Seeing her and Thor back together was really, really great. I'm the only person in the world that actually really likes the Dark World. Big hot take right here. I think Thor the Dark World is better than this film. It's funnier because it doesn't try to be funny. So much of this film is funny, but then so much of it is so like try-hard funny with all the wacky zaniness, and it's just kind of like cringy and awful, and it's like every joke is either 100 or 0. There's no in between. It's no just, yeah, that's fun. That's fun. I'm having a fun ride. And that is literally the Dark World. It is just, I'm having a fun ride. But I like the characters, and I like Jane Foster, and I like all her stuff. So seeing her back was really awesome, but it just felt like so disjointed and chaotic. There felt like there was so much happening, but then also not enough happening. Like the film felt so long for 2 hours. Yet I was like, I need 30 more minutes. Like, Jane's just like, Mjolnir just called to me. The hammer just called to me. And now I'm Thor. And there's just a moment where she's like, hey, I'm Thor. No time to explain. No time to delve into that whole thing. She's just Thor. And now we've got 2 Thors and we're moving on with the story. Just give the film time to breathe. Sit with the film. Like, the best parts of this film, when the film just let them sit for a second. And Jane and Thor could just, like, be there as Thor and Thor and have scenes together. Like, they were some of the best scenes. They were the best scenes where they got to sit there and actually act and reminisce on the past. And there was a good fun montage where like they showed how they broke up over time and things like that. They were really working at the start. And then it just started getting, we got to get those kids back. Got to get those kids back. Got to get those kids back. Guys, I wonder what's going to happen at the end of this Marvel film. Will they get the kids back? Of course they'll get the kids back. Humor in a film is not a bad thing. Humor in an action film is amazing. You get the best of both worlds. Great action, great comedy. Take Hot Fuzz, for example. It perfectly works as just a comedy, and it perfectly works as an action film, and they perfectly kind of fit together. There are some really dramatic, intense, like full-on emotional action moments and big kind of reveals and twists and turns and all those things. And yes, right at the end of them, there might be a little joke. Ketchup. It's ketchup. Everyone who's seen that film will know what I mean. But before then, that little ketchup joke, it doesn't ruin this huge moment that's happened before. It's still powerful and it still, lands that kind of beat, that dramatic beat. I feel like Taika Waititi cannot make them gel. He can't make them fit together. And it's infuriating. Like, so much of this film is visually gorgeous. You've got big goats flying about, carrying this big Viking thing. There's action, like the Mjolnir shatters apart and comes back together. Having 2 Thors there, his old love interest as Thor. It's so cool, like, visually. But, apart from being like, that's cool. That's a bit of fun. Ha ha. Ooh, unfunny. Ooh. Apart from like just those kind of very surface level kind of responses, I wasn't able to emotionally connect into anything because we won crazy wackies anything. Then it would be like, I've got cancer. It's the real saddest thing in the world, and I'm still dying. Even though I'm Mighty Thor, I'm still dying. Okay, let me sit with this emotion as I'm starting to fall into this kind of side of the movie. She's like, "What's this? A grenade? No. Doof, 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 doof. It's my speaker system." And they're both like, bam, 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 bam. Taika, pick a tone for more than 30 seconds. Stop jumping. You're freaking me out. You're losing track. And I do not understand. And I had the same issue with Ragnarok, but I feel like this tries to do some different things. And it's like, did he not learn his mistakes from Ragnarok? I guess everyone just praised Ragnarok too much. They was like, oh, those naysayers that said there were no emotional bits and I ruined them all with humor. They're wrong. I'll just double down. I'm actually the greatest. That's really what it feels like. It feels like he didn't take any of the issues with Ragnarok and adapt them and change them so Love and Thunder was a more sophisticated film. He went, you like wacky zany? Oh, you're going to see some wacky zany. Russell Crowe's just going to run about with a big lightning rod, and it's going to be the most wacky zany thing you've ever seen. Speaking of that Zeus scene, Taika Waititi not only can't, mix his tones correctly, he's also a coward. How dare he hype up the idea that we might see Thor naked? It was in the trailer. We saw naked Thor in the trailer, and in this movie, we see Thor's naked butt and naked body, but no dick. Coward move, Taika Waititi. Show me his dick. The thing that I can't figure out, though, is that Taika Waititi's or at least my favourite film of his, and I would think everyone has a different favourite, but you all could say the same thing about it. And I'd say this for every non-Thor film he's made, really, that I've seen. But my one would be Boy. Boy is hilarious and quirky and wacky. It's got that New Zealand kind of vibe, and that whole Taika, vibe. But it's also emotionally rich and devastating, powerful and heartbreaking. And it's a really, really good balance of both. I never felt like it was a tonal, jarring mismatch of just, you can't do this serious stuff and then this silly wackiness. It always fitted together so well. And so it's baffling that now he's done his second Thor film. He's had 6 years in between and he still just can't find that balance. If anything, Ragnarok feels like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good compared to this. This feels just like he stretched it even further away. So every time you're feeling one emotion, you're bouncing back to the other and you're trying to find it and you're just stuck in this weird middle ground of being like, how can I emotionally invest in any of this? It's just not gelling. It's not working together. And it's really, really disappointing because I leave the film just being like, I don't know how I feel about this. I honestly think, and this is a pretty hot take, and I imagine most people disagree because no one really likes the other one. But I think this is the worst Thor movie. And I think Dark World is better. I think Thor 2, the one where it's dark and everyone hates it, but it's actually kind of fun. And it's pretty action-packed and awesome. It's just better. It doesn't try to be funny. There are just moments that are really funny. But also, the big thing in that film, and all three of the 1, 2, 3, is that Tom Hiddleston and Thor, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, it's just got such good chemistry. They gel so well together. It's a really interesting kind of dynamic between the two brothers. And in this film, no brothers. There's no brother. And I feel like that big gap in the film, that Loki-sized gap, is really obvious. It really, I feel it. I really feel it. It's quite tragic. It's quite disappointing. And I'd really hoped that, that kind of fun insanity of having Hulk there, having that Doctor Strange cameo for 5 minutes that makes me love Doctor Strange. I really wanted Guardians of the Galaxy to have that kind of moment at the start, to connect it to the MCU, because, you can want these all to be standalone films, but they're not. They're part of this giant, huge monstrosity of a thing that is the MCU, so why not have, connections and all that stuff? And so the start, he's there with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but there's no fun as Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. It's just a quick montage. But it's mostly just Taika literally just monologuing in a narration thingy, being like, he had a dad bod, but now he's got a god bod. Ha ha ha, rhyme and stuff. And they're just background characters that are just there. There's no characterization to them except that they want Thor gone. Sure, you couldn't have just made that a 20-minute sequence and taken us through that. I don't know, it felt really, really wasted. It was so disappointing to see them all there when so much was happening in those montages, but also nothing was happening. Yeah, absolutely wasted. Really, really disappointing. Other characters in it, Valkyrie, she's fine. She's in it. Yeah, I like her. She doesn't really get anything to do. She just is kind of there. It's really just Jane and Thor that are good. They're really, really good. They're really good. So much else in this film is it just doesn't work. Another thing this film does that just kind of doubles down on Ragnarok that really, really annoyed me was that there's a montage bit and literally Taika is doing his Korg narration thing and he's like, oh, Thor lost all these people, really important people. Gets to all the main characters, all his best friends from the first two movies. And he's like, oh, and just these guys. And who was that guy? Who the hell was that guy? Shut up, Korg. Such an evil, monstrous move to have the director kill them in such a who cares way in Ragnarok. And then in this movie, double down and be like, oh, all those other characters that died in those movies I didn't direct, oh, they're all wonderful. But these friends, now that I'm me and Korg, his best buddy, who even was that guy? God damn it, Korg. I wish you died. When he died, I was like, best part of the film. Now Taika can get the hell off the stage, get behind the camera, can figure out this tonal nightmare that I'm watching, and, get it working rather than sitting in the, goddamn recording booth trying to make funny little quips and doing singing bits. Yeah, I don't know. Korg, I'm over Korg, man. He's not working for me anymore. Yeah, I'm getting bitter and sad now. I think I'm going to stop reviewing. It's mixed. I had some fun. I had some laughs. I feel nothing emotionally. The film ends and he's like, Gore, get your daughter back. Don't wish for everyone to be dead. She's like, actually, that's a good idea. Oh, but I'm dying. Oh, no. Take care of my daughter. So now he's just a father to Gore's daughter? What? That just comes out of nowhere. And then at the end of the film, they're like, hey, it's like Logan or Kenobi or, I don't know, every film now where there's like, I'm the big adult and I'm mean and tough and ooh, I'm strong and oh, there's a little girl and I've got to protect her now and oh, but she's a bit strong too. Oh, cool. I guess every film's just got that dynamic now. The Mandalorian. Except I like that one because it's a baby Yoda. Oh, baby Yoda. So good.